Susan Burkholder worked in the healthcare industry in sales, marketing, consulting, coaching, and executive management roles for 30 years. In year 2013, Susan felt called to join the fight against human trafficking. She served as an ambassador for Shared Hope International and became an active member of the Alamo Area Coalition Against Trafficking. Since year 2015, she has served as a volunteer with Ransomed Life. Susan currently serves as Ransomed Life's lead trainer for prevention education. The Ransomed Life prevention education team has presented for more than 46,000 community members, school staff, counselors, medical professionals, parents, and middle and high school students. In June year 2020, Susan joined Rotary as a charter member of the cause-based Rotary Club to End Human Trafficking, based out of Minnesota. As of July 2021, Susan transferred to the Rotary Club of District 5840 to Combat Human Trafficking, where she's currently serving as speaker coordinator. Let's welcome Susan.
Thanks, Shirley. All right, guys, I'm going to share my screen. So when Shirley and I spoke, when she asked me to come and talk to you guys, we've talked back and forth about what exactly it was that she wanted me to talk about. And so basically what I'm going to provide for you guys is an overview of what this district-based, so district-based versus, what you guys are doing, which is much more internationally based. So just an overview of what we're doing from a district level to combat human trafficking. And for some reason, my voice is being weird right now, so I apologize for that. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll get started. All right, can you guys see that okay? All right, let me go back. So mission and vision, our club, which shouldn't keep doing that, like-minded individuals coming together to combat human trafficking in our district and beyond. And our action steps are basically our vision statement. Take action to significantly decrease human trafficking in District 5840 communities, as well as make an impact to combat human trafficking internationally. And this last point here on the screen is something I think is very important to how strategically we are going to be rolling things out. We had a strategic planning meeting and discussed the concept of what is our customer, who is our audience, who are we trying to reach? And for example, like if I were selling coffee mugs, would I sell those at Walmart, or would I maybe put them on Etsy if they're a really, cool little coffee mug? What's my distribution channel for what it is that I'm trying to put out there? So we had that conversation, and it was decided by the strategic planning committee that our audience is the 57 District 5840 Rotary clubs. That's our distribution channel for what we're going to do. It's a very specific thing, and it helps to sort of inform us in all the other things that we do. So our action plan, and this is in line with the Rotary International's action plan through 2024, increase our impact by forming relationships with other anti-human trafficking entities, expand our reach by communicating anti-human trafficking information, as well as our club's focus internally within our district, and then externally with other audience within the boundaries of our district. Enhance participant engagement by providing every one of our members a way to actually get involved and serve. And then increase adaptability by welcoming diversity within the realm of the fact that we're combating human trafficking. So our focus areas, we have 5 focus areas. We call it SPEAR: support vulnerable populations, partner with other anti-human trafficking entities, empower youth with knowledge, raise awareness, and reduce demand. So those are our 5 areas of focus. So every time we look at whether we're going to do something, does it fit within one of those 5 areas of focus? Our objectives we will provide at least one service project per quarter that all of our members can participate in. Our goal is to grow our membership with primarily non-Rotarians, and that's my story. For those of you who know me, Kathy Hubbard, I think you talked to me about Rotary for all of our 30 years of knowing each other, and it just never worked out for me until in 2020, I was able to join Rotary by being on Zoom in my passion of combating human trafficking. So it's just to kind of, doesn't make sense to for all of our members, for all of our clubs to be already Rotarians. That doesn't grow Rotary. The point is to find other people who are interested in this and bring them into the awesomeness of Rotary. Retain 90% of our membership, shine in meeting district objectives and challenges, become a premier resource, a primary resource for anti-human trafficking in our district. So somebody in our district in San Saba is like, I have a question about human trafficking. Oh, call those people. They're the resource for information. And then serve as an example of how to successfully implement a cause-based district-wide Rotary Club. We just really want to get this right. And then create and track metrics. So I want to tell you guys a little bit about District 5840. So this is a little map of Texas. I kind of stuck a map of our Rotary district on there. District 5840 covers over 52,000 miles. We have 44 counties, Texas counties, and 57 clubs. And the reason I put this information in here is because, you know, when I read the newsletter for the Rotary Club to End Human Trafficking, from an international basis, it's really hard to kind of bring everybody onto the same page. I love the cocktail party, the mocktail cocktail party concept where people can come together on Zoom and have a social time. And that's a challenge. It's also a challenge for us here in Texas. I know we're only in a district, but our district from Ballinger to Beeville is a 5-hour drive. From Del Rio to Cuero is a 4-hour drive. So it's not like we can all get together and have breakfast once a week. It just isn't. So we have to figure out how to do this just like you guys are doing via Zoom as best we can. So just that point. So then a couple little pieces of information about what human trafficking looks like in Texas. So the University of Texas did a study a few years back. I'm trying to get information about how prevalent human trafficking truly is in Texas. It's sort of a bellwether study. That study gives an estimate. Keep in mind, it's very much an estimate. You guys know this, that on any given day in Texas, there are over 313,000 human trafficking victims. That study estimates that of that 313,000, there are 79,000 minors and young adults who are victims of sex trafficking. That's not all minors. It's 23 and under in their study. They did a lot of data extrapolation. They took a lot of information from Child Protective Services and from Department of DPS, et cetera, to gather all this information. But if you do the math there on the screen, 313 minus 79,000, the estimate is 234 labor trafficking victims in Texas on any given day. So just like everywhere else in the world, labor trafficking is more prevalent than sex trafficking. We all hear about sex trafficking more, and that's the organization that I work with. We work with survivors of sex trafficking. I always want to make sure that people clearly understand that labor trafficking is more prevalent in Texas, in the US, and in the world. I often get this commentary, well, Susan, yeah, I'm completely aware that sex trafficking happens in Bangladesh or downtown Houston or Las Vegas. I get that, but that doesn't happen in my town. So a friend of mine, his name is Chuck Paul. He's been fighting this battle for years. He did a deep dive onto the dark web on one day, a few years back, and pulled up these 29 little small town communities around the San Antonio area. I live in one of them. I live in Bulverde. It's kind of on the third line there. Those 29 little tiny small town communities, in that one day, there were 6,374 ads for escorts on one day. This is absolutely something that is happening in all these cute little small towns where they think that nothing bad ever happens. And Chuck will tell you that those ads on that day, most of the ads, based on the words used and the emojis in the ads, gave the connotation that what you would be hiring as your escort would be a minor. Words like new, petite, small, 6,374 just on one day. And then I often hear, well, labor traffic, man, that doesn't happen in my town. Yeah, it does. I give these 4 examples when we're doing presentations. The Dominion Country Club, it's a very, very high-end country club on the northern end of San Antonio. 2 women were held as enslaved as maids in a home in the Dominion Country Club for years. They literally lived in the garage and their bed was a cardboard box. Burnett County, which is just, it's in our district, it's north of San Antonio. There was a home where kids in the foster care system were sent. Those children were enslaved at Joshua Home. They owned a business and they enslaved those children to do work for them in some cute little small town in Texas. Dalhart, Texas, it's up in the Panhandle. This is an ongoing case of slaves harvesting potatoes from a variety of different countries. And then another story of a nanny in Katy, Texas, which is just outside of Houston. So sex trafficking and labor trafficking, they happen everywhere, happen in every tiny little small town. So what exactly is it that our district-based club is going to do? So we have been very specific about stating what it is we're going to do. So we follow this SPEAR acronym: support vulnerable populations, research opportunities, provide resources, training, and advocacy for vulnerable individuals. Partner, develop partnerships with local NGOs, law enforcement, and other anti-human trafficking entities. Empower youth with knowledge. That's my favorite of the whole thing, empowering youth with knowledge so that they can keep themselves and their friends safe. We will do that by partnering with local Rotary clubs, and I'll give you an example of that here in a minute, and Interact clubs to host presentations for youth. Raise awareness, again, partner with local Rotary clubs, because that's our focus here in District 5840, to host presentations for communities, parents, and school staff in their community. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. And then the R, reduce demand. Practice and promote ethical consumerism. I learned so much about that at this club, at the Rotary Club to End Human Trafficking. We have had a speaker for our club, several speakers about reducing demand, actively educating people about what it looks like to buy commercial sex and to buy labor trafficking products like chocolate. So those are our 5 areas of focus. So how do we roll that out in our district? So when we go out and talk to the Rotary clubs in District 5840, we talk to them about what can each individual Rotarian do. We encourage them to gather more information. As you guys know, you only get like 20 minutes to speak at a Rotary club, right? And so how can you give the whole thing? You cannot. And so we have handouts for them and information how they can go and learn more details, either online or in person, about the reality of human trafficking and how they can avoid being a part of it. We encourage them, Jerry will love this, we encourage them to join RAGIS. And we provide information about that on our handouts that we give out. And then we encourage people to learn how to report. Like if you see something, say something. Here in Texas, the Attorney General's office has a wonderful video called Be the One. We encourage people to contact local law enforcement, and in the US, the National Human Trafficking Hotline, 888-3737-888. That's what every single one of our presentations to our fellow Rotarians includes that information. And then practicing ethical consumerism. I ask them to pick one thing that they are not going to participate in the world of slavery. Easiest is to learn more about chocolate. Slavefreechocolate.org. We actually had the founder of Slave Free Chocolate, and Riggs, come and speak to our Rotary Club about chocolate slavery. And there's a quote from, you guys all know Simon John. The University of Chicago found that 1.56 million children were harvesting cocoa or cacao during the 28-29 growing season. Those kids were not being paid, they were slaves. And so we encourage people to learn about slave chocolate or pick something else, coffee, any number of different things. Just pick one thing that you're not going to participate in slavery. We encourage individual Rotarians to do that. And then when we're talking to Rotary clubs in our district, what can you do? So we have created a goal of, in 2023 and 2025, our goal for all of our fellow District 5840 Rotarians, partner with the Combat Human Trafficking Club to do one of three things. Just pick one of these three things in the next year to do. One, bring human trafficking awareness to your community. We call it the Beeville Blueprint, and Joanna is here with us. Joanna is part of our Beeville Blueprint. Or print and distribute human trafficking posters in your community. There's a template that we can give people. We're currently developing that. What would that look like? A simple template that you can go and put up all over your community. Or three, complete a service project to benefit a local anti-human trafficking NGO in your area. Just pick one of those three things. We're encouraging all 44 Rotary clubs, no, all 57 Rotary clubs in our district to pick one of those three things to accomplish in the next 1 to 2 years. And then I'm going to explain the Beeville Blueprint. That's what I call it. So this is prevention education for your school district. And Joanna, I'm going to just explain this, but if y'all have more questions about this, Joanna is here with us and she can explain exactly how this all got rolled out. First, Joanna secured grants and donations to create a Beeville, Texas-wide prevention education program. She partnered with an experienced prevention education provider. Her club hosted a town hall meeting, and they included community and school district leadership. I think there were like 80 people at that evening meeting. Then there was a meeting with the school district leadership. And then they are rolling out, they're in the process of doing this, rolling out school district-wide prevention education. They started with school staff. 100% of the school staff in Beeville, Texas have now been trained on human trafficking and how to avoid that and prevent that. And there's also a medical school staff training that is part of 2019 Texas legislation. It's required in Texas. It's required in Texas that school administrators, school staff, everybody who's an employee of the school district have training. And if they're a medical professional in the school system, they're required by 2019 Texas legislation to be trained on human trafficking. And then parent education, that's been rolled out in Beeville as well. And then we are working on student prevention education, presenting information to students. In Texas, we have something called Senate Bill 9, which I have a copy of it here. This is Senate Bill 9 that has a very specific way of rolling out education for students in Texas. It's a bit complicated, but if you guys have questions about it, I can explain it to you. One of the main keys about Senate Bill 9, student education on human trafficking, is that parents have to opt in. It's not an opt out. Parents have to want their child to attend that presentation in a school district, and it has to be approved by what's called the SHAC committee, which is the Student Health Advisory Council in school districts. It's kind of complicated. So it's not just like you can go into school and do human trafficking awareness. Texas has its way of doing things. So anyway, moving on from that, that's the Beeville Blueprint. So what has our club done since our inception? Following that SPEAR, this is just an overview, supporting vulnerable youth via district conference projects, backpacks. Both of our 2022 and our 2023 district conference, we collected backpacks for supplies for vulnerable populations. We collected math books and got them to a Rotary Club in Mexico. Clothing drive, we had a clothing drive in our club, then we got those to vulnerable populations. And then we have an upcoming project with 4 other clubs in our district. So our club, the Combat Human Trafficking Club, as well as 4 other clubs, are going to do a service project for a facility that works with survivors. Partnership with non-government organizations and other clubs. Our goals for 2023, 2024, our goal is to present and partner with all 57 District 5840 Rotary clubs on one of those 3 options that I talked to you guys about. And there's something called the Alamo Area Coalition Against Trafficking. I was a member of that for years, and it has sort of dissolved and nobody knows how to quite put it back together. So we're thinking, you know what, that's something our club can do. We can reestablish the Alamo Area Coalition Against Trafficking. The E, empowering youth. We presented at the Rotary District Conference, and we have worked with Bernie Independent School District on rolling out education, and upcoming will be, as we've already talked about, Beeville ISD will be rolling out Texas state approved student training. Awareness, the A, for 5840 club presidents and clubs, we've done trainings, handouts, our website, a district, we've been prominently displayed at the district conference. Clubs in Blanco, Bernie, Beeville, the 3 Bs, community members, restaurant bar owners, school staff, and parents. We've done presentations for all of that. Our speakers, we've had people at our club who are speakers from the FBI, from other NGOs, from Ragus. Dave McCleary came and spoke to us, from federal and district prosecutors, from the Border Patrol. That was a fascinating meeting. You know, what's going on at the Texas border is not human trafficking. It's a lot of human smuggling, but there's a lot of vulnerability for those who cross the border. So we had an amazing presentation from the sector chief. And then we've had presentations from the Texas Governor's Task Force. The border briefing, the information from the Border Patrol folks, we sent that out to our entire district because it's not just something that happens right there on that Texas border, because they're traveling throughout our district, and it's an issue that we need to be aware of. And then our goal for 2023 and 2024 is every time we have a speaker, put together a briefing that we send out district-wide. And we did it with the Border Patrol. It was a success, so we want to do that more. And then reducing demand, we have had speakers. Simon John came and spoke to us, and Riggs of Slave Free Chocolate, and then Ty Bowden and Jarrett Guajardo talked about just ethical consumerism, talking about reducing demand. Both Ty and Jarrett spoke about organizations that they're a part of that work to reduce demand by providing education for people who are buying sex with children. So that's some of our accomplishments. The list goes on. It's a lot more than that. That is pretty much everything that I have for you guys. You guys want to ask any questions, if you want to know more about the Beeville Blueprint. Joanna is sort of the author of the Beeville Blueprint, and she has joined us today. So that's everything that I have for you guys.